Welcome, Vault Dwellers. My name is Nacho Bidness, and we are back with my main build character, and we are at my electrical test lab here at Spectacle Island. I just built a big flat place here a long time ago so that I could just tinker with this, that, and the other thing, and that is because, well, we're on my main build character because Bob is retired. Probably will never see Bob from the local 4-pack challenge again. But that's okay. He had a hopeful end to his story. And if you haven't checked that out, go take a look at that. I hope you enjoy. So what are we doing today? Well, we've got these little demonstrator shacks over here. And this one, by the way, out of Port Royal, a great mod. I am on Ethereum. But what we're really after today, finally, is we're after a mod called Electronics. We're going to do a mod review on this. I've never done a mod review, but I am wanting to do one on this one because I think it has not gotten nearly enough attention for what it does. It is really good. I used it quite a bit, actually, in my local 4-pack challenge, mainly for the insulated connectors. We'll get into what those do. I guess I want to start with the kind of meh features of the mod, which are it adds a couple generators, but there's lots and lots of mods that add generators. Where things start to get interesting, things start to get unique, is for one thing, it adds the self-powered terminal. Now, if you have ever done any programming of delay switches on a complicated settlement, you know that if I was to hook this terminal in to these switches over here, I would actually program everything simultaneously. But what if I want to have these switches on a different delay? I mean, I could spawn another generator and power a separate terminal, but this thing makes one power all by itself, which is exactly what I need for being able to program some delay switches, interval switches, or power counters, which is awesome. It's just a handy little tool that I am glad the mod author decided to include. Probably one of the most exciting things to me is these insulated power pylons and connectors, because if you've watched my channel, you know that I tend to maybe go a little bit overboard on how complicated I make my lighting systems, as far as, you know, putting individual switches on different buildings, or heck, if you watch my home plate, I had 3 different modes put together in the home plate space, as far as like a bright, an off, and a mood lighting mode. So if you're interested in all the kind of cool ways you can light home plate, go look at my home plate video. I'm real proud of that one. Although, like usual, I tended to babble at the beginning. Sorry. So yeah, we've got these all these different things that are insulated, which means that if I've already set up lighting somewhere, I can then go build a contraption inside of a room where I've already set up lighting and not screw with the lighting. It makes things so much more convenient. I have to spend so much less time pre-planning. Now, it might be a little bit easier to understand if I just kind of demonstrate this to you. So we've got this lamp, right? And if I hook this vanilla pylon up here, that lamp turns on. Well, dang it, what if I had that on a switch or something? Or otherwise didn't want it connected to a main circuit. If I use the insulated instead, this does not radiate power. It's got power going through it, you can see the sparks on the wire, but it doesn't turn on radiant things like lights. In fact, I can put this right next to this thing, and it's fine. Nothing happens. Lights off. I could probably do an entire tutorial on how much easier it is to do lighting, and just lighting, using the electronics mod, but I want to get on to some of the other features that this mod has. So one of the other cool things that we can do with this mod is we have tiny, medium, and large radiance power conduits. And what that refers to is the radius that this thing throws power. So if I wanted to put a light for the tiny conduit, I have to get right up on top. Grab this table lamp here. See there how close I had to be before that light turned on? Now I can pull it away and it'll stay on, but I had to get right up on it. And this is really handy if I want to do some indicator lights, or have other lights that are right next to each other on the same switch or the same circuit. Now the medium radiance conduit is about the same as the vanilla conduit, maybe just a hair less. But we can show you what the radius is for that with this table lamp here. So, as we start to edge it closer and closer, see it was about a 4 square away. Now the large radius conduit is especially handy if you want to have a settlement with no wires and no switches or anything. You just want to light your whole settlement and do it real easy like. Use the large radius one because it works all the way over here. In fact, I lit my entire Grey Garden settlement with a single large radius conduit. You need no more than 1 to 2 of these things to cover even the very largest of settlements with radiant power if you're not interested in doing your lights on switches or anything like that. So that is by itself something that's very handy. And for people that don't like messing around with electricity or don't like having wires going everywhere, that is a really handy thing to have. One of the other things that we've got here is we have a door locker. Let's go and grab that. That's the activator. And what this does is any vanilla door, it only works on vanilla doors, but any vanilla door, we can use a switch to lock the door. See there how it closed? And I cannot open the door, but as soon as I hit the switch power, I am able to manually open and close the door. So another handy device, for example, for keeping settlers out of a place that you may not want. So another cool thing that we can do with this is there is a door activator, and this turns any vanilla door into a powered door. So if we hook power up to this thing, the door opens, and if we take the power away, the door closes. So if I get out of build mode, I can use that switch to open and close the door, or I could use a logic gate or any other number of things that people use to open and close those concrete sliding doors. And I like that because it means that I'm no longer limited to just using the concrete or that one wood sliding door. One last thing that this has that I wanted to mention was a proximity switch. There's also this switch and siren activator. So far, I've not been able to get it to work. Don't know why. Anyways, this proximity switch does work. So what I'm going to do, what this does is it detects if you or an NPC is nearby. So if an NPC walks past, this turns on. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hook the input power to this. Oh, and it also has these 45-degree power conduits. These are really nice for getting your power around the edge of the roof without glitching or clipping a wire through. Now, I am shameless when it comes to glitching and clipping wires. In fact, there's one right up there. But if you are the type of person who does not like to have wires go through walls, this is another little tool that is going to make your life easier. At any rate, proximity switch. So hook that to that power, and I'm going to hook that to my door controller. And so now we've got a door that only opens when I walk near it. So if I walk close to this thing, I can get inside this shack, and the light turns on, and as soon as I walk away from that proximity switch, light turns off. Oh, well, the door closes. The light, because I messed around with that large radius conduit, is going to be on forever until I go and fix it. But I do wish that there was a way to configure this proximity switch for whether it just detects NPCs or enemies, and whether you could do like the radius that it detects at, how fast it activates and how fast it deactivates, because you have to be right on top of it, and it takes a long time to activate, and it deactivates very quickly. In fact, if I take too long of a route around this door, it'll close before I can get through. But that's really just a minor annoyance. We can use that proximity switch to do things like have the settlers, quote unquote, turn the lights on when they go home, so that the lights in a settler's shack are only on if they happen to be in there. And because the radius actually is so short, we could do things like if he's in the kitchen of his shack, all the lights are on, and if he's in the bedroom of his shack, all the lights turn off. A lot of cool things we could do with this. In fact, it also can kind of serve as the seed for a little security system. So I'm going to put power to that proximity switch. They do require an input power, and I'm going to go to this interval switch, and I'm going to take this construction light and go straight to the proximity switch. So now, if anybody walks near this thing, well, the speaker turns on, and gets attention, and the spring trap starts going over and over again, and the light just stays on. Now, if I was going to do this for a real settlement build, I would probably, hide that behind the door so it would, surprise someone that walked through the door unexpectedly or something like that. But you can kind of get the idea. The last thing that this mod does that is really, really helpful is it has a bad weather detector, and I haven't worked out exactly which weathers it detects. Probably has something to do with the fact that I have true storms installed. Good weather detector, so anytime it's just clear weather, and it's actually saying that right now it's bad weather, so I guess overcast is considered bad weather. There's a radiation weather detector and a rain weather detector. So we can do things like, I'm going to hook this to a mortar that shoots a clear weather shell. So this one on the left, it shoots a clear weather shell, and this one on the right shoots a rad storm shell. And if we summon a rad storm, just wait for that to activate. Is it going? I put these on a longer delay because, well, I was shooting too many shells too fast. That, and I have the sound muted. I can't really tell. Yeah, now we've got a rad storm going, and now that my rad storm, oops. So now that I'm going to hook my rad storm detector to my clear weather launcher, anytime a rad storm rolls through Spectacle Island, we're going to get a clear weather shell, and that rad storm goes away. But there's a lot more that you could do with these switches. For example, if you wanted to have a light that turned on, or if you wanted maybe your decontamination arch to turn on every time there's a rad storm, or you wanted to turn a bunch of spotlight turrets on when it's raining. Lots of different things that we can do with this mod. In fact, the ways that we can switch things in Fallout are nearly endless. Anything you can imagine at this point can be done with electricity, between electronics and advanced settlement power. The shame is that there's just not that many things to turn on and off. But I still greatly enjoy the electricity system. I really found the electronics mod useful, especially during my challenge build at at Starlight City. And if you're interested in that mod, be sure to check it out. Like I said at the beginning, the link will be in the description. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. And if you want to see more, be sure and subscribe. I think I'm going to do some tutorials and some more kind of practical builds with some of these things out of the electronics mod. So stick around and subscribe for that. If you didn't like, please tell me why in the comments so that I can try and do better for you next time. Until next time, my name is Nacho Bidness, and I'm saying it's a great big wasteland out there. Let's go have fun in it.